it's this children's book called The Sound of Silence, where this boy living in Tokyo is trying to find silence. And he goes to all of these places in the bamboo forest, all of these places where you think, where's the silence? Where's the silence? And there was always noise. Always something would come in and create the distraction, would create the noise. He's like, no, this isn't silence. And then finally, towards the end, he gets to his classroom early and he's sitting at his desk and nobody's there. And he's looking out the window and all of a sudden he finds it. He finds silence and he recognizes the silence was always there. The silence was there in between the noise. That's what we're coming to. We're landing into, should we choose to find the silence in between the noise, because it's really noisy out there, right? You can either pay attention to the noise that is on this side and the noise that is on that side, or you can focus on the space, that liminal space in between, which is the point of silence, which is the same as the field, as the birth canal, as that passageway from one experience to another experience. And we are in that liminal space right now. That is the point of creation. This is Corinne Bloom, and you're listening to Raw Conversations. Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing? I hope you're well. I hope your week was well. If you're watching this as the episodes are being released, second week of December, and last week was very intense. And I've sat down today and tried to record this so many times, and I keep on hitting a wall with it. And so I feel like today actually is going to be more of just one of those just gentle reminders to guide us through this time, because December generally can be pretty intense if people get caught up at the Christmas and, holiday kind of stress sometimes, but also this way that we perceive the year, that this is the end of the year and the end of the cycle. And it's like a crunch time, right? And I think this December, there's a exponential intensity that's going on as we come into this completion year, where at the end of the year 9, there's a completion. And at the end of something, there's like the final purge. And is it the final purge? Who knows? Everything is cyclical. It's not linear. So we don't just get there and boom, it's done and we can continue on to the next thing. It's cyclical. So we'll come back around to it again, I'm sure. But this cycle feels like it's coming to an end. And I think as we come towards the solstice and the light comes back, we're finishing the cycle of darkness, right? So there's a lot that's percolating right now, and there's not a single person that I know in my life right now that isn't struggling, that isn't challenged, that isn't feeling stuck in a loop and a circuit that keeps on coming back around. And I was having this conversation with one of my dear friends. It's like, what does it take? What does it take to move beyond this cycle? And I would say that's both personal and collective. And sometimes it has to get kind of so mucky and uncomfortable to really truly let go. And those are the words I keep on hearing. It's like, let it go, let it go, let it go. I talked about it last week. Let go of the scaffolding, let it crumble, let it fall. And it's easy I have this visual of like that crumbles into kind of stones and boulders, and it can feel kind of abrasive and harsh. And yet this morning, as I was writing, I saw those boulders and those stones turn into petals, and they just lay at the foot of the path. And it's almost as if to say, as your bare foot touches the roughness of the ground, the petals are there to say, I'm going to bring grace into your journey. I'm going to soften your landing as your bare foot hits the ground, the bare ground. And that's what we're really needing metaphorically. It's like the bare foot on the bare ground. We're really coming back to the bare bones of everything. And so it's a time that we're moving through right now that is like, let go of the baggage, let go of the stories and the identities. And I'm going to touch into what I heard in my meditation this morning was, are you ready? Firstly, are you ready for your life to radically change in the most positive way? And I said, yes. And then what I heard was, okay, are you willing to let go of all of your old identities? all of the old stories, all of the old ways in which you could defend yourself or go into victimization. So when things are hard, you have something else to point to. Because what's happening right now is we're coming back into sovereignty. And sovereignty requires self-responsibility. And self-responsibility requires kindness, compassion, patience. And so the true test that I'm feeling into right now is patience. We're being tested on how patient we can be. How frequently can we return home into ourselves, that we can sit and feel all the feelings, the fears, the worries, the anxieties, the stress, the overwhelm, the confusions, the longings, the desires, the humanity of it all, and come back into that 0 point, that place of stillness, that place of being, that place of rawness and realness that is letting the scaffolding and the masks and all the baggage and all the identities and all of the fakery that we've been in. And again, as I was writing this morning, it was like the dualities are really coming up right now, that in times of deception, we're learning to see truth. In times of fakery, we're learning to embody that which is authentic. It's like the duality is saying, do you get it now? Do you see it now? And the point is to come back to this 0 point place that is the analogy that I've often shared, that the soul, our real true self, is the canvas behind the painting. And the paint and all of the painting, on it that gets smeared and smothered all over it are just our experiences. But what we're learning right now is you're not the paint. You're not the paint. You are the canvas. And sometimes the painting has to get really murky and muddy. It's almost like the visual I have is this getting old. It's like getting brown because too much paint is getting put on it. There's too much going on. It literally is a phase of too much information, too much stimulation, too much distraction, too muchness, right? And sometimes we have to be confronted with that kind of so blatantly, so that two things happen. One is that we recognize I am not this. I am not the paint. I am the canvas, metaphorically speaking. But also sometimes it takes discomfort for us to really be lovingly forced into surrender, to really go, okay, I let go. I let go. I am not this. And so it's a stripping back. It's a stripping back of everything that we thought we were that we're not. And it's really coming into the bigger truth with a capital T of who we are. But this patience piece is really, really being tested. And I don't know if you guys are experiencing this, but this kind of this loop and this circuit of repeated patterns. I'm back in a position for the third time in the last kind of 2 years. And I'm going, why? Why am I back here? Why am I back in this circuit, in this loop? And it's like that voice that said, are you willing to let go of everything? And if we're in this completion year, and if we're in the year of the snake and the shedding of the skin, we have to confront that which we are letting go. We have to see the very thing that we've been stuck in and then go, you know what? No, I do not choose that anymore. I do not prefer that anymore. What I do choose is this. What I do prefer is this. But that requires us to be spiritually mature, emotionally mature. It requires that piece of sovereignty that's coming in, that is asking us to take self-responsibility, that is asking us to no longer look externally and point the finger to blame something else for our misfortune and our challenges and our pain and our suffering and all of that. We're going, okay, it's actually not even about blame. It's just about, okay, this is my experience that I'm having. How do I choose to be in it? It is all about being. And I think the test that I'm experiencing right now is I'm in a place where you don't live here. There's nothing that grows here. It's absolute and complete stagnation. And so the only place for me to go to is in being. Whether that's in meditation or as I'm taking a walk, and the land here doesn't inspire me at all. So I'm looking at just like the brown trees. It's the same brown and the same green and the same road and everything is the same. And because there's no life happening, it could be really easy to just go into this like oh, this sucks. This is so uninspiring. But the invitation in it is find the inspiration in the dullness of it. Find the beauty in the mundane. Find the novelty in the repetition. Again, the duality is showing us something. It's showing us actually that gateway in between. And I really I was listening to a short video, this woman, the scientist, that was talking about when we are manifesting. She was talking actually about electrons, that the quantum leap, it isn't that it goes from here to that place, right? So if I were to put it into, I'm here in my current life and I'm wanting to manifest this life that's over here. And what we think to is to jump directly to that. Like, okay, I want to put myself into there, right? I'm going to feel what it feels like to live in that life, and what, the sensations, the emotions that are in my body as if I were living it now. And that is often the way that manifestation is taught. And it's certainly what I've done in the past. But what she was talking about is the electron is in a point, and then it literally disappears and it pops out at another point. So what's happening in between? What is that liminal space in between? And I spoke about the liminal space last week, I think it was. That's the field. So in order to quantum jump, I know I'm getting a little bit technical here, but in order to get to where we want to be, we don't just get there straight. It has to go through the field. And the field is what I've really been feeling in my meditations recently. And I think it's been why it's been so beautiful and I've wanted to stay there, is because the field feels like this realm of this liminal space. The way that I often see it, and I'm sure it's different for everyone, but the way that I often see it is kind of like this dark space. It's the void, but it's not dark. It's actually full of light. It's a complete paradox. And I often see kind of waves, but they're like just like outlines of waves. And it's hugely expansive, and it continues to expand and expand and expand. And yet it's that stillness in motion, right? It's everything and nothing at once. I mean, I don't even want to put all of this into your mind because you should have your own experience of it. But the point of it is it's the place of possibility, of infinite possibility. But it feels like nothing is happening and everything is happening because it's just a state of being. So you're not projecting into, oh, I want it to look like this and this and that. And that's all beautiful. And I do that first. I do see the vision of it first and how that feels. And I get into the specificity of it. But then I come back into this liminal space of the field where it's like that's where everything, what is the word? I don't know why stimulate and percolate comes through, but it's like everything is bubbling from that place before it comes into fruition. And maybe almost the image that comes through as I say that is like a volcano. And I don't mean that it has to be this big that's going on, but it's as it starts to ooze through the crust of the earth, and then it takes shape. It has to burst through and then it takes shape. But there's always this space in between. It's kind of when we're going through the birth canal, being from the womb into reality, into this world, there's always a passageway. And so right now, I think we're being asked to come into this place of stillness so that we can access that passageway. We can access the field. We can access the place of stillness and motion in order to then get through to the other side, which we're wanting to create and manifest and cultivate into reality. We're learning right now that we are creators. We are far more powerful than we've been told. And at the same time, we've been taught in kind of left brain, linear mode that you have to go do to create that. And what we're learning is that you create by being, and you create out of stillness, and you create from that 0 point place where you're not in the story of the future and you're not in the story of the past. You're just literally right here. And so if I bring that into the human practical day-to-day experience, I think why I keep on hearing that our patience is being tested is because it's like, no, don't run ahead of yourself. Don't get impatient. And I can be super impatient. I'm like, man, things take way too long here. It's just like, why can't I just instantly create? And it doesn't work that way at all. Even to get to a place, like I can be very directional. Like, give me the direction and I want to just get there. I don't want to like meander around it. Just like get me the fastest route there. Which is kind of ironic because I talk a lot about being, and then I'm like, no, I want to get there fast. Don't give me the layover, the stopover. I want the direct flight. But this invitation to come into patience is actually just an invitation to come into being. And so it's without coincidence that at the busiest time of year, which is so counterintuitive, it is so counterintuitive because, as I said, we're going to the darkest time of year. So it's the time that we should be going the slowest, the softest, the gentlest. We should be going way more inward. We should be resting more. And instead of it's like lights, candy, sugar, alcohol, parties, staying up late at night, like it's the absolute opposite of what we should be doing. But let the discomfort maybe of either the outer chaos or the stress or pressure that you might be feeling, or maybe you're also in this circuit, this loop, this repeated pattern. Let the discomfort of it bring you here, right here, and be with your feelings and notice the stories that are attached to it, and then let them go. It's so annoying. I know it's easier said than done, but it's like really making this choice of, I don't need to play this game anymore. So again, I'm going to come back to the reminder that you're not alone. That's really coming through again. You're not alone. And if you're going through challenge, maybe it's coming up for review to let go of your attachment to it, to let go of the story of it. And can you really come into this, dare I say, neutral space? And maybe what it's even pulling us into is not to be in the reactivity of what's going on to us as we perceive it, and flipping it into, how is this happening for me rather than to me? But also, I feel like if I really go dig deep into it, we're coming face to face with what our beliefs are about life and existence, source, God, creator, your higher self, your soul, your essence. We're going into the deep shit right now, which for me is like, this is fantastic, but it means that the outside has to get enough to come back into the silent space behind it all. It reminds me again of this children's story. I talked about this a while ago. It's this children's book called The Sound of Silence, where this boy living in Tokyo, I think, is trying to find silence. And he goes to all of these places in the bamboo forest, all of these places where you think, where's the silence? Where's the silence? And there was always noise. Always something would come in and create the distraction, would create the noise. He's like, no, this isn't silence. And then finally, towards the end, he gets to his classroom early and he's sitting at his desk and nobody's there. And he's looking out the window and all of a sudden he finds it. He finds silence and he recognizes the silence was always there. The silence was there in between the noise. That's what we're coming to. We're landing into, should we choose to find the silence in between the noise, because it's really noisy out there, right? Even if you don't plug into anything, like I don't, but I can feel it. I can sense it. You can either pay attention to the noise that is on this side and the noise that is on that side, or you can focus on the space, that liminal space in between, which is the point of silence, which is the same as the field, which is the same as the birth canal, which is the same as that passageway from one experience to another experience. And we are in that liminal space right now. That is the point of creation. From nothingness comes everything. So I don't know if that seems too philosophical or out there and if that even makes sense, but it's just like that. That's what it is. That's take it or leave it, as I always say, right? But that's what it feels like. We're in this stripping back and getting into this real simplification of you are in the space being between creation, the crumbling and creation. That's where we are right now. So the invitation is make time to find moments of quiet, to find moments of reflection. Look at the pattern, the circuit, the loop, the repeat, but don't get attached to it. Just recognize, what is it that I'm letting go of right now? And whatever it is that you're wanting to create in your future, great, visualize it, see it, feel it, sense it, but don't try to jump immediately directly there. Pull yourself back, become the canvas of the painting, observe all of it that's on top of it, in front of it, before you. Come back to the canvas. Come back to the essence of who you are. Come back into that liminal space. Be the electron that pops out and into the field before it will emerge where you're visualizing yourself to be. But we're in the passageway right now. So moments of stillness, moments of quiet, moments of witnessing your experience, and go out in nature. Go into the places that connect you to that place of silence. Yesterday, I drove an hour and a quarter to get to a place of the sea, and I was just on the beach with my daughter, and she was kind of playing, and I was just lying against a rock and hearing the waves, the gentle waves, and that kind of flow, that rhythm, like the breath of life. It's like the breath of creation. It's the waves. And by the end of it, I felt so tired, but tired in a really lovely way, like relaxed, like I could just go to sleep like a baby and just feel held in that sleep, right? Not tired fatigue, but just, wow, I feel actually so relaxed and so calm right now that I get to rest. So those moments right now are really, really, really important. And that is going to bring us into greater intuition, greater sovereignty, greater sense of self, greater authenticity, greater being, so that then when we take action, it's coming from an embodied, empowered place of, I am the co-creator, in flow with, I'm not controlling it, but I'm in flow with source. And we're not going to play the old game of reacting to constant stimulation that tells us, look at how scary this is, look at how terrible this is, look at how stressful this is, look at how, you have to do this. Like, no, just F it all. What year do you want to step into? What world do you want to create? Who do you want to be? Who do you need to be in that new world? Jump into the liminal space. And then we'll soon see what comes out on the other end. But I think it has the potential to be incredibly beautiful. But, get uncomfortable. Let it invite you into letting go and surrendering, and come back into that 0 point place. So enjoy it. Enjoy the field. I hope that's made sense. As always, take it or leave it as feels right for you. And loving you from afar. Thanks for being here with me. You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.